Hello, Internet. This is the 5th installment of Weekly Auto News, and I've surged forward to an incredible 5 subscribers. Thank you all. And in regards to the growth of this channel, you'll be pleased to know that if current growth trends continue, and if my calculations are correct, this channel is well on its way to having 1,000 subs by sometime in the first quarter of 2038. Can't wait. And speaking of not waiting, we've got news this week on SCG's upcoming top-tier sports cars, GM's new Hydrotech Silverado ZH2 built in conjunction with the U.S. Army, Bentleys' plans for a new electric vehicle, and Toyota has got some plans to delete some cars from its lineup, which we'll discuss. And there's going to be some crazy futuristic motorcycles on the way, like the Arc Vector, the Harley-Davidson Livewire, and more. But to kick it off this week, not very American-sounding American brands, Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus, or SCG for short, has a couple of projects in the works that they'd like you to go ahead and start getting excited about. The first is known as the 006. We were originally given a look at this car some months back, but this week new renderings and specs have surfaced for the vehicle. The new retro-styled carbon fiber-bodied vehicle will be available on a hardtop or a roadster, and will ship with a 6-speed manual transmission or paddle shifters. And it will use the same 6.2-liter supercharged V8 found in the Corvette Z06. The first 30 vehicles to ship out will be known as the Founders Edition, and will be available in the later part of 2019 for a cool $250,000. And the second is SCG's 007 Hypercar, built with a very specific goal of taking first place at Le Mans within the next 2 to 3 years. The brand is taking its inspiration from Ford's string of victories in the second-gen Ford GT in the late 1960s, and in accordance with the production rules, the brand will be building 25 road-legal versions of the car that should be available by around 2021. And while no price is yet to be announced, I'd say that they're going to easily hit 7 figures, so you better start saving up now if you want one. And speaking of F1, they have had some rough times recently, but they did just announce their first race since 2016, and that is the Vietnam Grand Prix, which is slated to take place in April of 2020. However, that's not really the interesting part, or well, maybe it is for some of you, but what I think would be the most interesting tidbit of information to come out of all this is that the 3.5-mile, 22-turn race will take place on a mixture of paved racetrack and currently existing roads in the city. I may check this out. We'll see what happens. All right, so Brazil, who not so long ago was one of the world's top 5 auto producers, signed into law on Thursday a bill worth hundreds of millions of dollars worth of incentives to auto manufacturers and is set to last for 15 years. The new bill is a bid to keep auto manufacturers invested in the country and to incentivize them to continue to develop and improve on flex engines, which are tremendously popular in Brazil as they run on both gas and ethanol. And Volkswagen has attempted to get into the worldwide pickup truck segment for some years now, and as part of that continuing mission, VW unveiled its Tarok concept in Brazil this Tuesday. This small unibody truck will ship 150 horsepower, a 2.0-liter engine, and will have a towing capacity of around 2,200 pounds. VW is also keen to show off the fold-down rear cabin, which extends the usable length of the bed. I would say if you're into that kind of thing, I recommend you start looking for a Chevy Avalanche or a Subaru Baja, as small, internationally branded unibody trucks generally don't do well in the US. However, Volkswagen did acquire a US trademark for the name Amarok back in January of this year. So at this point, it's anyone's guess. And we're not done with Volkswagen yet, as they made it clear this week that they have plans to introduce an entry-level electronic vehicle into their ID lineup. Stated to begin production sometime in 2020, the new VW would be estimated to start somewhere between $21,000 and $23,000, and is aimed squarely at underpricing and thus possibly outselling the new Tesla Model 3, which currently starts at $35,000. And in more truck news, the guys over at GM Defense recently posted renderings for a hydrogen and battery-powered 2020 Silverado HD that was co-developed with the U.S. Army and will be known as the ZH2. GMD stated that the new truck will feature over 400 miles of range and can be fully charged in 3 minutes. The drive system is known as Hydrotech and will be able to use its hydrogen battery system to generate up to 100 kilowatts of power or function as a mobile water source. And like the M-Spec Colorado they showed us back in 2016, this one, if produced, won't be for sale to the public. However, GM has pledged to produce 20 battery, electric, and fuel cell vehicles by 2023. So I'd say a hydrogen-powered Silverado seems like a pretty likely addition. And despite all the metrics showing the Toyota Motor Corporation having what's probably its best year ever, there is one little problem. Their car sales in the US are down by 11% for the year, and while they're not quite ready to pull a Ford on us, there have been indications that Toyota and Lexus will begin downsizing its lineup of cars in order to maximize profits. And while popular cars like the Camry and the Corolla are safe, news outlets and internet forums have been speculating on what cars may get the axe. Names like the Toyota Yaris, the Prius Prime, the Avalon, or even the 86. And unfortunately, the Lexus RC and LC coupes may be on their way out as well. And it's been a roller coaster of emotions over at Tesla this week, as in recent months it surpassed American rivals Ford and General Motors in market capitalization, but this week it moved up another notch to edge out BMW, and now claims the prize as the fourth most valuable car manufacturer on the planet. And to go along with this, Tesla has also received subpoenas from U.S. regulators this week for the company's production data, following a lawsuit filed by former shareholders in September of this year, claiming that the company purposely misled them about production levels of the Model 3, as it took the brand some 8 months longer than originally projected to reach the company's production target of 5,000 Model 3s a week. Tesla responded to this by saying, "We believe these claims are without merit and intend to defend against this lawsuit vigorously." And if you remember last week, which you may not, but that's cool, I told you guys about the possibility of an upcoming Bentley EV. Well, some more news has surfaced recently that reveals that if the car does go into production, it won't share a platform with the recently announced Porsche Taycan like many expected, but will instead most likely use the upcoming PPE platform that was co-developed by sister brands Audi and Porsche. Bentley expects to have a decision made on whether or not to produce the vehicle before the end of 2019. Cadillac recently trademarked a logo in North America for their new Blackwing V8. And the logo, unsurprisingly, is a pair of black wings. And in Voyeur news, a 2019 BMW M8 was seen rocking the war paint being put through the paces at a little place called Nuremberg this week. And Aston Martin has confirmed that it does indeed have an SUV in the works, and that we should be able to get our hands on one before the end of 2019. In the announcement, Aston Martin CEO Andy Palmer also quelled suspicions that the new SUV would be an electric vehicle, but refrained to comment on whether or not it may be some sort of hybrid. We do know that the vehicle will sit on an all-new platform, that it will be built in St. Athens, Wales in the UK, and that its name will likely be the Varikia, which goes along nicely with Aston Martin's recently announced hypercar, the Valkyrie, which, if you don't know, is an 1,100 horsepower naturally aspirated V12 hypercar built on F1 technology that will have the most horsepower ever crammed into a naturally aspirated engine. And the world of two-wheeled vehicles has been buzzing this week, so I thought we'd skim the surface on what's going on there. We'll start with Jaguar Land Rover, who just announced an investment into Arc Motorcycles, who's producing an all-electric, high-tech bike known as the Vector. And while there's little available yet as to performance or pricing, we do know that the new motorcycle will use what they call human-machine interference, which will incorporate sensors into the riding suit and a full heads-up display into the helmet. F-22 Raptor, anyone? And now on to a little company known as Harley-Davidson. Some of you may remember their Livewire concept from all the way back in 2014. Well, after years of development, Harley-Davidson's first EV bike will go on sale in 2019, with orders starting in January. Harley-Davidson has also stated that the Livewire will be the first of a new high-performance EV lineup of motorcycles that the brand hopes to have completed by 2020. And GM is also throwing its hat into the world of electric bikes, only this time I actually mean like bikes, and has two different foldable electric offerings in the works. GM is currently offering $10,000 to the person that can name them. And I'll even be so nice as to put the link in the description where you can go submit your idea. And in recall news, Chrysler is recalling more than 10,000 2017 and 2018 Pacifica hybrids in the US and Canada over engine control module issues that could lead to an engine fire, or just your vehicle stalling, but mostly fire. However, Chrysler has assured us that conditions for either incident are rare and that no injuries or accidents have yet to be reported. And that's going to wrap it up for this week. But don't forget to check the link in the description if you've got a name in mind for the new GM bicycle lineup. And I've got more videos coming, but I'll definitely see you this time next week, if not sooner. Till then, I'm out.